Broke girl therapy.
We'll just catch up.
Sorry.
Like, how's work? How's life? Hello, testing. Let's test yours.
Testing.
Okay, it's good. Oh my God. Is it recording over there? Sure.
I think so.
Okay, we're good. Yee! I'm so excited. Where to begin?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to talk about.
I know. Okay, we'll just get started. Well, hi guys. It's me. Did you hear that?
What was that?
Sounded like someone farted, but it wasn't
me.
But it just sounded like, I don't know. Anyways, hi guys. It's me, Stephanie Megan, your host of Breakup Therapy. And we have Rachel Booth.
Rachel Booth. I'm a cool girl now.
Oh my God. Cool.
I really feel like Rachel Booth is the coolest name.
No, I feel like it's an actress name.
I would bully you in high school. Instead of being the one that was bullied, the tables have flipped.
Oh my God.
But I'm going to use my powers for good.
Yeah. You're like, I'm going to use my mean girl powers for like to save the world.
I'm also like married, so it doesn't make any difference. Yeah. Like you go out into the world and you're like, oh, that's such a hot name. I'm like, thanks. I'll let my husband know.
Rachel Booth is a very hot like name.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah.
I really love it.
Like I feel like you even have an actress face. Like I say this all the time. You remind me of Sydney Sweeney.
I get it all the time.
Like, and that is like the biggest compliment ever.
I'll take it. If I could ask for the boobs too, I'd go one step further and ask for the boobs. I love her boobs. They're massive, and I would love for that to be the case.
But I also feel bad because I feel like she's definitely exploited. Like for her boobs and stuff. Not like, I mean, I'm sure she's, I mean,
I'd be flattered.
I'd be flattered too. Like, honestly, if I had her body, I would just.
She's like this big.
So small.
And just like.
Yeah.
So I take the face.
Shout out to Sydney Sweeney.
So
the last time you were on, we actually did the episode with Ian, your husband.
I was trying to think on my drive over which one was last, and I think it was the one he was on it.
Yeah, when you guys were on it, and you were talking about your relationship, and everyone was like, "Oh my God,
the drama,
so cute. The drama, the tea."
It's fun because it's definitely settled since then.
Yeah, like, I'm sure
it was.
I would hope.
Yes, 100%. But it was like. It really was. It was kind of juicy, Like the way we met was unconventional, a bit like scandalous. Not everyone approved. Right. I mean,
people have opinions.
Everyone has opinions. It like disrupted multiple people's lives because it wasn't just us involved. And then there was like a lot of backlash for like a while afterwards. I feel like I'm talking like I'm famous. This clearly isn't like. No one actually cared. I just mean the people that were like involved in my life as well.
No, people cared because like even just like before you'd said anything to like me, me and Rose were just like seeing stuff online, like following along, coming up with our own theories. You know what I mean? Like
it didn't help with the like
the soft launch and just all the travels and So it's fine. You kept us entertained.
Yeah. Well, it felt like for a while that it would never go away and it just was always going to be kind of hard. But now, truly, I mean, we had like the wedding in London in July, almost a year ago. And I feel like once he got back with his visa in the middle of July, like since then it's been like 6 months, 7 months. And it just feels like that wasn't even, it was almost like a story.
Right, like when it was so long ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think back to it and I'm like, I can't believe that happened and that it was me that it happened with. Yeah. But it's really nice that it just feels
like just calm now.
Just normal.
Especially after just like all of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, lots of therapy. Both of us are in consistent therapy every week. And I think I just had to work through a lot of like guilt that came with it too, even though I'm like would do everything 100% over again. I've never experienced a situation like that where I've like been with someone but met somebody else and then I went about it and did everything.
You were like kind of the villain, like essentially in, like,
even
the
though
story.
It was like met the person and ended my relationship 2 days later, it still was like you had done this horrible thing and
it's very like Ariana Grande-esque.
Yeah.
Except there's no baby involved.
No baby. And I feel like when people prolong it, like literally what happened was we met. Nothing had happened between us other than like we felt something was there and we just made the decision immediately. Like before he had even left the US, which he was here for less than a week, I was already broken up. And by the time he got home a day later, he was broken up. So like
It was just very
We
quick.
did the best we could with the information we were given. But yes, it happened really fast, and both of the things we were in were like long standing relationships. Yeah. But both of them were really toxic and not healthy. So
so it's like you were gonna leave that relationship regardless.
Well, we talked about this, I think, the last time, but truly my hope for every single person involved, but more so the people that aren't us, is that like there's this understanding that everything happened for the best reason, and like everyone involved is happier for it, even though maybe because we had the control, we weren't the ones experiencing that like anxiety that comes with the like, I'm out of control, like I'm not making this decision, someone's making it for me. But then it's time now that it's like been over 2 years, so it's like
exactly
it's fine.
Like I look back to like, you know, how devastated I was with when Morgan cheated. I mean, you were there, we did the episode, like I was like so fucking heartbroken. But now I'm just like, I'm so glad that happened. Like I'm so glad he cheated on me, because you know what, like he actually ended up, he's still with homegirl, you know, like
okay, good for him.
So like so it was worth it, you know. And I ended up with someone better. So I feel like it was meant to happen, and it was, fortunately, sometimes it needs to be a little messy.
Totally.
For it to end, you know.
Totally. I mean, I feel that way with Ian and I. I think about this constantly, where I'm like, I just can't wait until we've been married for like 30 years, 40 years. And for people to be like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like even the people who still might not be behind it, which I don't think there's anyone at this point, but you can see, oh, they did that because that was their path. Like that was their destiny and they followed it. And like, they did the best they could to make the best decisions with that.
If anyone's like still upset about that, like needs some healing.
I really don't think there is. I don't know who it would be.
Did you get backlash from like doing the episode and like talking about the story? Like did your like ex hear about it?
I don't know. I don't talk to him.
Yeah.
I think everyone's like blocked.
Okay.
I think everyone involved is like wall up.
Okay.
But I'm not even on social media anymore. So
that's true. So it's like
I don't see anything. But I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Just wonder, because I feel like every time someone comes on the show and they like tell the truth and like it involves other people.
Yeah.
People like always end up.
I mean, there was like shit talking on that side for me, for sure. Like with that group, his group of friends and stuff, which is like, I was just talking to Ian about this not too long ago. In those kinds of situations, we were talking about something else, but I related to that, and that like I don't mind that at all, because that's just your people rallying for you, and that's like a great support system.
And that's good. Yeah, that's good to have community to like help you heal and move on from the situation.
Exactly.
So it is what it is.
I unbothered like wholeheartedly. Yeah. So if I don't care and it's not hurting me, then like do what you need to do to support your friend and, you know, give them a bit of a boost. I don't know. Right. When Morgan did we talked massive shit on him.
And it's just what you do. Exactly. Like when in any breakup, like your friends come around and like, fuck that bitch. Like you guys are better, you know, and like we'll say whatever they need to say to like make them feel better. So it's a part of the process.
Totally. So I bet that happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I don't care.
Yeah.
And if it did, I'm like, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. So how's marriage now?
Marriage is wild. It's like, it's great. I don't know. When you asked me that, I was like, I don't have like a...
I think that's how you know you're in a healthy relationship. Because like the same with me too. Like when people are like, how are you and Brian? I'm like, fine. We're great. Yeah. Like it's nothing to report, you know, like
everything seems to be going fine.
And it's like I feel so boring sometimes, especially like for the show. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I gotta like, it was so based off of my chaoticness, and now I'm like having to like rely on other people's chaoticness to make the show like good. And not to like rely on them, but you know, but like it's just, you know, for instance, like the twins come on and they're like, oh my god, I like had sex with like 8 guys and like had like 3 threesomes in a night, you know, and I'm just like, my life
does not look like that.
No at all. Like it's so different from like where I was before, like when I started the show to where I am now. And like sometimes it's disappointing because I know the content was so good when it was chaotic.
When we first started filming, midst of my singlehood. I had blue hair, I think, at one point.
Yeah, or pink hair.
Pink hair.
Yeah.
Really bad spray tans. But like
we were in my dungeon.
Yes, in the dungeon. But
Crazy.
we
were drunk.
We would
you would stay for hours and we would just be drinking.
Yes, taking shots.
And now we like barely even drink. I'm like, do you want water? You're like, I already have it.
Bring this every single time.
You're like, I'm already hydrated. It's
already
fine.
hydrated. I had 3 of them already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird when we made that joke like on my way over. Even before I left, Ian was like, what do you think you're going to talk about? And I was like, I hope she has something because I don't know.
Like, yeah.
I have nothing juicy to report, which is and has been really nice.
Because sometimes it's like, I think, when I was single, sometimes I feel like the drama was like self-sabotage and self-inflicted.
Yeah.
A lot, sometimes, not all the time. But I like really loved it. I felt like it was so good for what I needed at that time because it was like you're figuring yourself out. There's this sense of thrill, right? Like you're young, like you live on your own, you're in LA, and like you just kind of get a high on that thrill.
Right.
So you like behave like that. And so you start to like attract people with that type of energy and it's a good time. Like I have no regrets. Like sometimes I miss it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like sitting here like in a healthy relationship, and not that I want to like break up with Brian or like go self-sabotage the relationship, but sometimes I'm like okay, I could be the wild Steph
the content,
or I could just like like go get drunk and go dancing at a bar, and then where why with who and then I go and I'm like, it's so loud.
Cranky immediately. That's what we were laughing about. I'm like, if it's too loud, I'm cranky. If I don't have a chair to sit on, I'm cranky.
I'm pissed. Yes. I need somewhere to sit in the corner.
Old.
So like, yeah. And it's like, I'm grateful for like maturing, but I'm also like, I miss her.
I know.
Like, where is she?
I know. Well, and I do feel like there's times where I'll try. Like, there's...
I know that feeling.
Events and stuff. When Pride happens, Pride every year, I like definitely go out and like do the thing.
Right.
Or like for my birthday, I guess.
Yeah,
but
like different. Yeah.
It's just different. Like when I try, I'm there and I'm like, I'm not really having that much fun.
Yeah. Like I feel like, for instance, like for my birthday this past January, like I kind of almost like deep down, I think wanted to relive my younger like self and my past birthdays that were really fun, where I would get really trashed at a bar and all my friends were there and we're dancing and we're taking photos and it's this whole thing. And like when I was there, like I can even feel it in my friend group where everyone's also tired. I'm like, fuck, I feel bad for dragging them along.
Yes.
Like, one, I feel like it's loud and I'm exhausted and I could see it in everyone else's face. And I'm like, I feel like now I'm in this like kind of transformation. I'm trying to figure out what that like next like Steph is, Steph 2.0. Like I'm not her anymore and I should accept that. But like, what do I want to do for fun now?
I think that's exciting though.
Yeah.
I feel the same exact way, but in a really positive way. And almost so it is weird because you're right. I don't feel like I am who I was in my early 20s or my mid 20s or even my late 20s, honestly.
Yeah, just that whole decade.
The whole decade, for sure. But it's wild because I'm in there. I do go to therapy every week. And shout out to Janae. She's amazing. My therapist has like changed my life. You know how you like date around until you find one?
Oh, for sure.
And this year I like
found your girl.
I found she's the best. And truly, without any of those experiences, what you're sitting in now and the peace that you have now like wouldn't exist because and I think about that quite often because sometimes I'll think, I deal with guilt a lot of like what the peace or the learnings that I'm like taking away from like therapy or just life now. I'm like, I wish I could have applied that in that situation when I was that age and that place and I would have made it better. And now I'm like dealing with, I was a shitty person. Right. But that's like not actually the case. We just didn't have all the information.
We didn't know ourselves yet.
No.
Like there wasn't any like guidelines in anything. Like that's why I feel like I love having a show where I like so openly talk about sex and all the problems and everything because when I was younger, like, I just didn't have that.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I didn't even understand what anxiety was. I didn't understand, like, a panic attack, or I didn't understand that I was, you know, like, the traumas I was just, you know, going through. Like, I didn't understand any of that, or just even just my sexuality, you know, and being like owning your sex, and like, but also what does consentment look like, you know, like all those things. Like, I felt like there was just not, we just didn't know. We were just like raw dogging life.
Really raw dogging life. When we should not have been. We should have slapped a condom on and we should have stopped.
Yes. But we're just like, we just wanted to have a good time. But also, like, a part of me too is like, but what if I did know, what would I have done with that information?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably nothing.
Nothing. You would have been like, whatever.
You would have been too drunk to actually like listen to yourself.
Exactly.
But also, again, I really think what we are experiencing now is like the purpose of those years. Like what I keep trying to take away from, like, leaning away from feeling guilty of like, oh, I wish I would have like handled that situation differently, or I wish I would have
done this more.
Not, you know, contributed to gossip or that fight or whatever. Yeah. I think without that, it would still be happening now, or there's a possibility that it could happen now. If you're catching my drift, like, I feel like we are now evolved past it, and so it has its purpose. I look back at it fondly of like, it's okay. I speak to her sometimes where I'm like, here's some love, you know.
I do it too. I just look back and I'm like, oh my God, like, especially when I look back at older episodes, that's when I'm like, you just didn't know.
You didn't know, but you were doing your best.
Yeah.
With literally all the information that you had, you were like, you were going for it.
And it's like, I feel like the reason why we're so like a lot wiser now is because of all the fucking bullshit that we put ourselves through. Yes.
100%. And it's also, again, I guess this is tied back to like maybe the guilt stuff, but there's a lot of things I wish I could relive to do differently, to not have like the trauma from some of the things that I've experienced. But then again, without them,
I was gonna say, sometimes, like, this might be like controversial to say, but sometimes I like the trauma, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as fucked up as it was to go through certain things, I'm just like, but damn, like, I kind of like overcame that shit, you know? And it like makes you just even, like, it makes you like yourself more, like, once you've like really have done like the work. And obviously I still have a lot of healing with certain things, but like, just even with the stuff that I have healed from, like, feel like I trust myself, you know? So when, like, now as a 33-year-old woman, if something does come up, I'm like, well, I was able to like manage and overcome this, so I know that I would be able to solve this problem.
Yeah.
You know?
It definitely gives you strength. And like, I think we hear this phrase quite often when they talk about like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But I can truly pinpoint those like, I didn't die, but I was attempted. It was attempted murder, but I didn't die. I mean, the whole reason I even moved to LA was to escape an abusive relationship. And there was a moment I had the other day where I was, you know, it's been so pretty here now. Like, the weather's finally cleared up and we have like a nice, beautiful deck with these sliding glass doors. And I was just sitting on the deck with like the doors open. Our dog, who's just so cute, was sitting there. Ian was somewhere in the house. And I just had a moment of like, I have everything that I want right now. Like, I have everything. Like I feel this consistently now where I'm just like, there's nothing else. There's literally nothing else that I need, that I want, not even material wise. And I was having that moment and was like, if I hadn't had experienced that trauma from the abusive relationship, I wouldn't have run away to LA to get away. And then when I was in LA, I mean, I could keep going, but all the things that I struggled with that were super traumatic to me, whether it was like abuse or, you know, sexual assaults and anything, they've all led
to where you are,
to where I am, and I can pinpoint them back. It's not this general statement of like, no,
it's happened. Like it tracks. It's like, oh, this needed to happen, so this could happen. So this could happen, so this could happen.
And without that, this wouldn't have, and then I wouldn't have. And then I think even with Ian, like, finding this job was the reason why we met, because we met at work. And I think about the amount of times that I worked at my job before for way too long, and I was super unhappy. It was very toxic. There was a super toxic person who worked there, and I was applying every single day, every day, all day, went to interview after interview, never got anything. And I was just like, this is it. There's
stuck
nothing.
in this fucking job.
Stuck here. And then I got this one. It just happened. It like fell on my lap. And then through like a beautiful kind of serendipitous way. And then I met my husband through it. And now here I am.
And you're still working there?
Still working there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is he. And it's just wild. Like I can pinpoint when those bad things have happened.
It all just like literally had to collectively like build up.
Yeah. Which is why I think now anytime I am in a sticky moment or like something is hard or I'm feeling like I don't want to be here, I am just more confident and something is going to come out. There's a reason for this.
Exactly.
Just accept it, let it flow, let it like pass, and then reap the rewards.
For sure. Yeah. No, I always remind myself of those too, because sometimes I'm like, I kind of had that moment recently, and I'm just kind of like, you just got to keep going. You got to keep going. Like, you just got to like power through. Like, for instance, like with this podcast, I talked about it in the last episode with HK, but the industry changed a lot as far as like downloads and numbers, and it's like affected a lot of shows, especially shows that have been around for a long time. And so my numbers went down like 50%, which has affected like my money. But it's like, so it's like this whole thing. So I've just been very down on myself. Like, do I need to, before I found out it was an industry thing, I thought it was just like a me thing.
Yeah.
I was like, do I need to like just get naked for you guys? Like, what do I need to do? Like, do I need to change? Are you guys bored? Is it me? Is it because I'm boring now? I'm in a healthy relationship that no one could relate to. And I'm sure that's the thing too. Like, I get that. Like, people like, you just grow out of people. You grow out of like content. It's fine. But like, I was really just down on myself, and I found out it was an industry thing. It helped, but it still feels just like, damn, like, it's just kind of like I worked so hard and then this happened. Yeah. So it feels very like, but then I have to like remind myself to like keep going, because it's like, okay, but I've accomplished so much. And I wouldn't have done A, B, and C and all these live shows or whatever if I just stopped at one point.
Yes, you would. You went from the dungeon to having your own studio. We're like in her beautiful studio right now, which is so wild that you can say.
Yeah, to me afford this like microphone. Yeah. Like at one point I couldn't even like afford a laptop. Right. And like these, and all this equipment's fucking expensive, but I was able to like do it, So I have to remind myself. I'm like, sometimes there's just bumps on the fucking road. You just got to keep going, Well,
and even like with what I don't know, because I obviously am not well versed in like the podcast world from your point of view, but maybe there's something that comes out of like where you get creative to see like where you can take it next, or like evolve it into what works with like what's going on.
For sure. I think that's like where my mindset is, because I'm kind of like, it's pushing me, because it's like, okay, like this industry's changing, so now you got to like switch up your marketing. You got to switch up like what you're doing. And so it's challenging me in a way. And that's what I'm trying to like look at it. I'm like, it's a challenge. Yeah. And so it is making me like think, okay, so what's next? Because I'm not the same Steph from 2016. Like
and good for it.
Like, like obviously my relationship is healthy, so there's not much tea to spill. Like, of course I love giving advice because I've been through so much, and I will continue to talk about those things, but it's different. So where do I like, what's like the natural step for me for Steph who is today, and so it is to continue like having the people that I love on, like that will never change, right? But it's like I think that I've been really loving reality TV a lot more lately than ever. I know. So I've been having like, again, like I had someone from Couple Thruple from like, Love Island. And so it's like, I'm like, those like do something that excites me, and like maybe it might like piss some people off because they're like, this is different content, but I'm like, but I'm excited to meet this person because I'm a fan of them from the show, and like what an opportunity to like do that.
There's 100% a market out there for it. Yeah. And also what I think is really cool outside of, I think what your strength is truly from my point of view, from like knowing you from the beginning as well, is that everyone's gotten you've experienced it, but like your fans and your viewers have gotten to watch you grow up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a movie that I watched. I used to watch it all the time. I think it's called Boy. Do you know what movie I'm talking about? Is it Boy?
I don't think so.
It's basically, it came out years and years ago, but it's so good. I'll find out what it's called, and then we can plug it, or you can put it somewhere. Yeah. Link it below. But basically, they filmed this whole movie over the course of this one actor's, like, it wasn't his life, but he played everyone up until he was like a teen, from like early. So they filmed for years and years and years as this kid grew up. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of similar to like what's happened with you, and that is truly the most relatable content that you can give. And if you're into reality TV right now, listen, you have an audience right here. Obsessed. Maybe that's what happens when that's probably what it is. We're in healthy relationships. Yeah. We have no drama. So we have to seek drama elsewhere to get the kick.
Exactly. Because that's why I'm like, I never used to care about like these dating reality shows. Like, I honestly didn't watch reality TV that much before. Yeah. Because I think I was living in the drama. Yeah. But you're right. Like, now that I'm like, there's literally no drama in my life. Like, none. Like, none, you know?
Peace everywhere. And it's annoying. It's lovely, but so boring.
So boring. So boring. Because I'm just like, I have nothing to tell to chisme with my friends. Yeah. I have no fucking content for you guys, you know? But then I'm like, I get sucked into these reality TV shows and these people, and I'm just like fascinated. And then I'm like, oh, I want to invite them on the show because, one, I want them to be my friend.
Right, 100%.
And two, I'm just like, I need to know more.
All of it.
I need to know everything.
Yes.
Because I'm also like I'm a very chisme person. That's just who I am. Like, I love just like gossiping, you know, respectfully. Yes. But like, like, I just love talking about the juice. Yes. You know? So
give me the tea.
That's why I'm like, okay, let's tap into that and just see and just play around and what I'm telling myself is like, just continue to have fun. Yeah. You know?
Well, again, I think when I think about the success that you've had and also like where you've come from then to now, the one common denominator truly is you. And it's been like what we talked about in the dungeon, we talked about because it was what was going on in your life and also what you were interested in. What we talked about, you know, at the Blue Wall place was
the Blue Wall apartment.
The Blue Wall apartment was because it was what you were interested in and where you were at in your life as well. And like now we're in this beautiful studio and what will come from it is. And I personally think that's the most relatable, and what your strength is with this entire podcast is just being able to be yourself. And there's a market out there, like for every step of the way. Who we attracted then were also millennials going through the same thing at the same time. Right. Now, the same people who listened back then are going through the same shit that we're going through now. So like, I would just trust in that too.
Yeah, and you always can listen back to old episodes if you like need a little bit of
it's there.
Yeah, like I think I had a friend hit me up and she was like, I listened to the breakup episode recently because she like went through a breakup, and I was like, good, you know, like just because I'm not going through a breakup right now, I did. It's there. It's archived. Go ahead. Like listen to it, you know. So.
I remember when you texted me and it was like emergency pod stat. I was like, mascara's going on.
The era of the emergency pod was the thing. Like it was like, hey, we need the tea. And it was fun and it was exciting. But I remember like feeling so heartbroken with Morgan, like just laying on the floor crying and just thinking like, I just hate this feeling. Like I don't want to put myself through this again. Right. Like I don't want to choose somebody who's going to make me feel this way. Like it's not worth content. It's not worth my mental health. It's not worth anything. I'm like, this sucks, you know? So.
And ultimately you weren't his chosen one. You were Brian's. So like there's that trust in it too.
Exactly.
It gave you the lesson out of it that you needed.
For sure.
But here we are.
And you were like the perfect person for that episode because I felt like, I think my hair fell out of it. But like, because I just was so emotional and you're just like, yeah, yes. Because I feel like if you think about it, if it was Rose, she would have fired.
Riding.
She would have she probably would have said some shit she probably regret.
Torch in the night on a horse, like already headed to, where was he, Georgia at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I know. And so like if it was, you know, like, those certain friends, they would have just been like, and it would have like fueled me. But I felt like you were like this the perfect, like, okay.
Listen.
And I felt like I needed that. I was like, I need someone to just be calm. Because, you know, like, sometimes you're like, I don't want to tell, like, my crazy friends yet because I'm not ready for them to, like,
come through,
you know, because you're like, I'm not trying to, like, get there because it's going to take a lot out of me. Yeah. You know?
Well, I personally had an experience myself with my abusive relationship where I experienced, and again, I was very young. So everyone around me was very young, except for him. He was really fucking old. So everyone around me was really young. But what I experienced when I did open up to people when it was toxic and I felt like I needed support was if I didn't make a decision that they wanted, which ultimately, looking back, I should have absolutely made I should have done what they were telling me to do, which was to leave, walk away, run away.
Right.
But I was never going to be able to do that until I was ready, until my clock was done. And I hit that moment and as soon as it was there, I was peace out, forever, fuck off. I'm out. But I couldn't get, my mom tried to get me to leave. She took my car away, my phone. I mean, this was like, I'm in my teens, not teen. I guess I was 18 when it started, but like she still had, I had control, like she had control over me. So there was people from all angles trying to get me to make those decisions. And truly, I was never going to make that unless it was my own. And so what happened was when I did open up, especially towards the beginning, when it was really like, I was aware that it was starting to get toxic and I needed support. When I ultimately stayed, I lost a lot of people. A lot of like friends.
We're just like, dude,
my
fuck you.
Mom,
like, it's
they just were like, I can't. And again, looking back, I get it. I definitely get it. But in that moment was when I actually needed the support the most. And so that, what I walked away from was this understanding of what kind of person and friend and support system I want to be to other people in my life when they're experiencing something that might be toxic or heartbreaking or, you know, a difficult situation. I am never going to make that decision. I was never going to be the one to be like, fucking, let's ride right now you know, whatever. Because if you turned around and were like, I'm going to give one more chance.
I know.
I would have been right there to say, okay,
I'm
well,
that type
then
of
let's
friend
do
too.
it.
I feel like it's better to be, I mean, we need those friends, right? We need the friends who are like, hey, bitch, let's ride or die, pull up.
Well, and you know what they are? They're
everything.
hindsight friends because when you do eventually make it to the other side, you look back and you're like, they were on it. They were right. I get it. But like, you have to go through your own timeline.
Yeah. But then I definitely like, because I've definitely been that friend that's like told another friend, like, leave your man, and then like, they get back together and I like feel stupid. Maybe they build a wall up against you because now they're not going to open up to you as much.
And ultimately what I find to be like the strongest friendship is when there's no holding back. Like you feel like you can tell them anything, that there's what is the word I'm looking for? Unconditional support, no matter what. And I think when you do make that stance is exactly when, even if you don't mean it to, and even if you're like, look, I'm still going to fucking be here no matter what, bitch. Even if you tell me like, I'm not going to leave him and you've already known I want you to, they're never really going to believe that. And I think just like there's a blocker in there of like, I need to protect this at all costs. So like, I need to make sure that the narrative is told the way I need it to support and
not say too much. So like,
So I get it. And I think that's why when you went through that, I was like, I'm going to be listening and I will support you. And if it becomes dangerous, I will
then let you know. Right. Yeah.
But until then.
I think that's the best way. Like, guys, listen to the episode, like the breakup when I was back in 2020, like the way that Rachel handled like my emotions and listening was just like the ideal way to do it, I think, you know, like
well, to be fair though, too, you were at a point where the support that I could give you was what you needed. Yeah. And then you graduate to Rose. You know what I'm saying? Like you make your way, you get there eventually. Yeah. And then that's then the support that you need when you're like, let's burn the house down. Yeah. But you were in a state, you were still processing. I think it had happened.
It happened that day.
Like 12 hours before.
Yeah.
Like so
it was crazy.
Needed to make that decision on your own, clear-headed without like any other external opinions, which is why I was there to just nod.
Yeah. Nod and be like,
I gave you a hug. Yes. I cried with you.
Yeah, you did. You gave really good, like, solid advice that wasn't like putting down anybody. You're just like calling the situation out for what it is. So it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can ride. I don't want it to.
That's in there too.
Don't confuse that, because the amount of bar fights I've been in.
It's because we've just learned to to pause it and bring it out whenever it needs to be. Because like a bitch could ride too.
We can ride. Ride till dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just like the way that I handled my first breakup, like I was like that psycho girlfriend that like did too much, you know, like pull up to their house.
Oh, whatever though. That's also like, you were in your teens, right?
I was like 20.
Okay, whatever.
But still
basically, you were. Yeah. That's also necessary.
We've all been a toxic, crazy ex-girlfriend.
Yes, I've been a toxic, crazy girlfriend. I've been a toxic, crazy wife. So
wait, so how's being married? So like, how do you now? Like a year later?
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, you've been through the whole like honeymoon phase. You've settled down. You did the whole wedding. Like a year later now, or about a year later. Like, how did it like? How is it different, or how is it the same?
It's funny. I think that it doesn't feel that different. You know, like it really just feels like I'm still with him. The only thing that feels different is like if we get into a fight, my first instinct, because of my past traumas, is to run. So I not actually run. Like it's not like I would break up.
Dismissive.
Yeah, but I shut down. I used to lock myself in a bathroom. Like if I got into a fight, I had to like, that came from really trauma with like having to physically protect myself. But like it then developed into this like, okay, if we're arguing and we're yelling and I need space, which is usually what I go for, I'd have to like go to the bathroom, close the door, lock the door.
Right.
And I have graduated. I no longer do that, which is really great. I've worked quite hard to like figure out why and where and like get to the root of it. But
because does he get like, when you do that, is he just like, wait, you're shutting me out?
It breaks his heart. So like before, it didn't feel like that. It felt like, again, I was in very toxic situations in both relationships. So it felt like it matched the energy to be kind of like toxic in my reaction as well. Yeah. And I wouldn't call it toxic, but maybe just dramatic or, you know, whatever. Right. But for Ian, oh my God, the first time I ever did it, because it literally was this learned behavior from my first relationship, brought it into the second immediately because there was a lot of like yelling and arguing, etc. And then when this happened, like we don't argue that often. But when we did, that was like, I went to it because that's all I knew, how to like shut down. And oh my God, it was heartbreaking. He was so like, why did... Aww. And he knows my past. He knows like there's been physical abuse, emotional abuse, all kinds of things. So I think what that brought up for him was like, am I being that guy? Yeah. Aww. And so that was a drive for me to be like, okay, this is affecting him. Like it's not just a me thing. It's like now I have this partner I respect and want to like respect his boundaries too.
And you're just like, damn, like I don't want to fuck it up. So let me just like make sure I like do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that.
It happened to like twice, I think, at the beginning. Because again, I just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
But now, I think we're both in therapy, which is very nice. We fight often. Like it's nothing has changed there. I mean, again, it's nowhere near what it used to be in previous relationships. But
like, what do you guys argue about? Like, what's like marriage arguments about?
Oh my God. My biggest thing is, I mean, I struggle quite a lot with over romanticizing a lot of things in life. And we went on a walk, actually it was like 2 days ago, and we talked about this. It was a really good conversation. But what I've come to realize is I explained to him what a meet cute was, but our meet cute, like we talked about at the beginning of this, it was dramatic, and it had like all these elements of like a movie and romance and like things that don't happen ever. He's from the UK. He's British with a hot accent, and like here I am, this little American girl from Missouri. Aww. Like there were so many elements that reminded me so much of just this like make-believe movie. Yeah. And now that we're totally settled and it feels like any other relationship, and I think that kind of stopped once we stopped doing long distance, I have struggled with that adjustment because it has felt like when we kiss or when we have sex, it's like incredible. I feel all the feelings, the butterflies are there. Nothing like that has changed, but definitely I'm going to throw him under the bus for this one, but we were in the kitchen one day. He was in the kitchen cleaning up and I came over to him and I just wanted a minute to be present. Let's kiss.
Yeah.
Let's make out. Let's just like be together. So I went over.
Oh my God, Brian's like that. Cancer. It's like such a cancer.
It's such a cancer thing. But I'm a present person too. Yeah. Like that's where I feel my most grounded or like sense of happiness. So I did. I went for it. This would have turned into a porno at one point. Like it would have just been like everyone's naked immediately. What happened was he got so upset with me because he was like in the middle of cleaning the countertops and was like, "Can't you see I'm like trying to do something?" And I lost it because I was like the juxtaposition or the change from that to this. We have had plenty of discussions since because it really was this deeper thing for me of like, once you get into healthy, it's what we've been talking about, and you get into peace, it becomes boring. It's not actually boring, but there's just like nothing.
There's nothing like, there's no like, there is that like dopamine, but like thrill that happens when like something chaotic is happening. We get it. It's like a drug.
100%. But more so where that also happens is when you first meet someone and you fall in love. Yes. They say it's your brain goes through the similar experiences when you do like meth or like an upper or some sort of like crazy drug. And what I think I struggled with so much, which he was so good at, like, just this is what I wanted, was for us to be ease and peaceful and like a normal daily life. I was like, wait a minute, I was in London every other month and you were some crazy British guy that I was like falling in love with, got married in Vegas after 6 months. Like, where is this energy? I will say, like, we were both in therapy quite a bit, so like I've worked on myself to figure out like where that came from for me. But that was a big recurring one because it triggered me hard where I was like, I wanted that. You gave me that. And now we're boring and we just sit here and we watch the same show every night. And I'm incredibly happy and there's no drama in my life and everything's peaceful. But like,
but I need a little thrill.
Yeah.
I think that's like, is that like a woman thing?
I think so.
Because I feel like guys are okay with just being like, chill.
Yeah, they're like, this is what it's all about. Right. Which is ultimately maybe they're onto something.
But. Yeah. Right. But then but maybe it's like, I don't know if it's just, ladies, comment below like if you're in a healthy relationship and this is like what you're feeling sometimes. But sometimes, like you want a little bit of like
the juice.
And I think that's why like I gravitate towards like the non-monogamy thing and like the open relationship, and like even though we're not like actively like acting on it, but it's like it's on the table. And he went out like on that date after the live show that one time, and like it like I like loved it because it was like this thrill, because that is, I mean, again, we've been in toxic relationships, we've been in relationships that were like we've been chasing the guy and we do too much, and it's like like we're kind of like used to that. And I think also it is also like a over romanticized thing too, that like that we think that is like romantic. So we need to be like a little,
I don't know, I'm like
edgy or whatever. I don't know, just like I don't know, is it a woman thing?
It might be, but
I feel like that's what not to put my parents' business out there, but whatever, it's fine. Like that's why my mom essentially like cheated and like divorced my dad. Yeah, is because like my dad's a great father. I mean, he was loyal. He was paid the bill, whatever. He did all the right things. Yeah. But the thing that he lacked was that like he was boring. Yeah. Like he wasn't like romanticizing her. He wasn't like doing all the things, and I think she just like craved that. And I'm not saying that like we're leading to that divorce and stuff, but I think it's like it's a good thing to like want to spice it up in a relationship. Oh, it's a good thing to like want to be like, oh, let's make this like without like damaging it though, 100%. But just being
I honestly think there's a really good middle ground here, but really what I I've learned, but what Ian and I have talked about, what he's learned from this as well on his end, was that like, in order for us to keep it where it was, you have to put in the work, which is, I think, where we're at in our marriage, of realizing like you could very well not give up per se, but just like,
just let it be boring.
Just
let it be
roommates.
Like mundane.
Yeah. And like, it's not like our sex life stopped or anything like that, but like, it just definitely felt, I'm going to say normal, but not in a bad way. It just kind of flatlined.
Yeah.
And again, not in a negative way. Just, there was no.
Yeah. But that's why it's important to like go on dates.
That's what I'm saying.
And I love that you were like, let me like just make out with him while he does this.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I think I would be pissed too. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Oh, I was
yeah,
so angry.
I get it.
But I think the ultimate learning for both of us is just like him and I are the best partners ever. Like, even if, God forbid, but something where we fell out of love or whatever, I don't see myself ever leaving him. We do life together so well. We can like communicate without even speaking. When we're doing tasks together, like we'll build IKEA furniture. No one's saying a word, but somehow like I'm giving him the screw when he like needs it. And like we work together so well that what I think it does is sets us up for failure, because it feels so good to have something that's so healthy, so like right and just fits seamless, that like it's really easy to just go down that path and be like, I don't have to try, like I'm not going to initiate, doing every other night. Or we found out for a while when we were kind of like in that, where I was really feeling like I missed it, we hadn't really gone on a date in like a month and a half. And I think we have this relationship where we could so easily seep into just like ease, where it's just, but then we're going to lose,
for sure,
everything else. So I definitely think what I'm learning is that we have to keep putting in the effort. So once you're married, you don't stop. I mean, I've heard it so many times, but I get it now.
But you get
like,
it,
you have to keep dating. Like,
I feel like that, I mean, me and Brian aren't married, but we're partners. You
basically are. Yeah.
We basically are. We just don't have the contract.
You don't need it. You don't need it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, we basically are married, and we like act like it, and obviously live our lives like that. So like, but we do have our moments where, for me, like, I just have like what I've learned about myself is that I have like a lower libido. Like, I mean, according to my stars and my chart,
I love it.
Mars is a Gemini. So I'm very like, either I'm like this like fucking slut and she's like,
going
whore.
Yeah.
Or I'm just kind of like, I just don't want to be touched.
Yeah.
And like, I'm an Aquarius, like I love my space. And he's a Cancer. So he's like, no, I want to be like,
I get it,
slutty all the time. So I definitely have like, I'm learning to try to be mindful of like not being so like closed off sometimes. And it's not, has nothing to do with him. It's just, it's everything with me and my personality.
Right.
So I just have to like, you just
have to find the compromise.
Yeah, the
common
compromise.
ground. We've done that quite a bit as well. And like, for example, on my end of things, there's been times when I think just boy things too. Like, it's not as easy for him to, as much as we talk about everything all the time, it's not as easy for him to like open up about things right away. And so, but me being the Cancer crab that I am as well, I can read a room before I even walk into it. I can tell if someone's in a bad mood, if they're upset, if they're in their head, in their feelings, whatever. And what I realized was quite often I was finding myself being like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And he's like, yeah, everything's fine. But then I'm feeling gaslit because I'm like,
we're like,
you're
but
clear-
I feel it.
I feel it. You're walking around like with your feet dragging.
Brian does
and
that
like,
too sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like,
so Ian's a Cancer as well. We're two Cancers together. So it could be us. Because I sometimes find myself doing the same. If you don't really want to get into it or talk about it, you're like, oh no, I'm fine.
No, that's him too. Like, if he just doesn't feel like, one, he thinks he's gonna be heard, or two, he's just like not in the mood to talk about it. Yeah, like he'll like act like that, but it's like, it sucks because I could tell.
You can tell.
I could tell you're upset. I could tell, like there's something on your mind. Just say it. But he's been better. I think that was more so like in the early relationship, or like when we first moved in together.
Yeah.
But now I feel like he's been really good at just being like, hey, this has been on my mind.
Yep.
Like, can you know?
See, that's great.
Yeah.
What we ended up coming to this like compromise with our situation is what was similar, but I just was like, look, I know you're not intentionally gaslighting me, but when I come to you and I'm like, something is wrong, and you say, no, it's fine, everything's fine, I feel it. Like, I feel gaslit. I feel crazy. In my head, I'm like, well, then am I dreaming this?
Right.
So we came to this place where I was like, you don't need to tell me what you're thinking about. Like, I don't need the intricacies. You don't even have to have it figured out. But at least just like validate yes. to be like, yeah, I'm kind of in my head about something right now. I will never go any further. You can continue to talk to me and I'm here to support, but like, I don't need to know everything. I don't like, I don't need that. So all I need for you to be like, yes, you're not off. You're picking up what I'm putting down. I'm just whatever. Yeah. And it's worked out so well. Now he doesn't feel the pressure, because I think what he realizes before, if he answered that question, he had to go into this whole explanation and have an answer of like what he was going through. But he was like, but I don't have it yet. Yeah. So it's stuff like that all the time. Yeah. You just find this compromise. But that was a common fight for a long time, because I was like, something's fucking wrong.
Because especially men, I think they don't know
how
and they're
to be
raised to like hold it in,
keep it together.
Keep it together.
100%. He has a dad that like does not talk about anything, like ever. And then I think there's the societal stuff.
He's such a sweet man.
I know.
Like, I loved when he came over. I just like I was like, oh, I know why you fell in love with him. Like, he's just so like,
he's so sweet.
You just want to like cradle him.
I do sometimes. I put him right here.
You're like, you little baby.
He's
such a sweet guy.
He's got a great soul. And he's way more communicative. Like, I try and tell him that too. Like, he's deserves way more credit than I think he gives himself. Especially being raised that way, and to like, keep it all together. Right. He's very outspoken, and like, we talk about everything. So I feel for men sometimes. Most of the time I hate them, because misogyny is the thing I fear and hate the most in life. But every once in a while I'm like, oh, you guys were done dirty.
You just want to cry. Yeah. You're more emotional and you can't let it out.
Mm-hmm. Which I think that's actually worse when you keep it.
I think it's emotionally, it's worse.
So much worse.
It's like, it does more damage than good. Yeah. So I want to read this email, because there was this email I've had for a while, but they wanted it for you. And I like, every time I pass it, I'm like, wait, they want it for Rachel. I think I've like attempted to read it a couple times on the pod. Wait, hold on. What was it?
Wait, this is so exciting.
And it had to do with an episode you did. I remember I tried to read it while I was on shrooms, and I was like, too deep. This is going to be for Rachel.
I want to do a shrooms episode with you next.
Oh, where we have to, because you love shrooms.
Love.
We need to do it with my friend Nathan. You need to meet my friend Nathan.
I met Nathan before.
Oh my God, the shoot.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes.
I love Nathan.
Oh my, okay, that was so long ago.
I would die. I would love to.
Like, that would be something, because we do shrooms on here all the time.
I would die.
Oh my God. Okay,
I probably wouldn't make any sense. We'd just be laughing the entire time.
No, that's literally what it is.
I know. I watched part of one of the ones you did with Nathan. Yeah. Where you read his like breakup letter.
Yeah.
Genius.
So funny.
Genius.
Okay, so this one, they sent this February 15, 2023. So I'm so sorry.
We're circling back.
We're circling back a year and a few months later, a month later.
We got to it.
It's okay. We're here. It says, falling into bad habits. Hi, Steph. My name is Sarah. I am a Virgo. I'm a new listener. I found your podcast when I saw a reel of Rachel talking about not knowing how to be in a relationship without being the good person. Mm-hmm. And that hit so hard. I've been hooked since. For real. Because that thing went viral, that video. Yeah. What did you say again? You said something so profound.
Well, it's funny because I'm revisiting it in therapy now.
Oh, really?
Like, I'm in it. And my therapist is trained in doing, I don't mean to cut Sarah off, but she is trained in doing IFS, which is called Inner Family Systems. And it's basically the like process of understanding an emotion when it comes up. And what this is, I struggle to even be vulnerable and tell Ian about this. I love that I'm just
You're like
telling everyone this is great.
Telling the internet.
Yeah, but really what I find myself struggling with the most, especially when Ian and I get into arguments, because this is the first situation where truly I have the utmost respect for Ian. Like you said it, you can see it. He's an incredible human. There's nothing that I can like tear down in previous relationships where I've been like wronged. And then I can say like, oh, I deserve this. With him, I always want to be a better person because I see us as such equals. But what I realized comes up because we had a situation, I had therapy, I came out, I was talking to him about something, and he out of nowhere was like, I just want to also say thank you so much for last night. I was kind of moping around the house and I got cranky and I like snapped at him over nothing. It was like he didn't turn off the light in time or something. I don't know. So dumb. Yeah. And once we got into bed, I was like, I'm really sorry. Rough day, hormones, about to start my period, etc. And in this moment, he said, thank you so much for saying sorry. Aww. Anger. Immediately, my blood was boiling. I didn't tell him this, obviously, but I was like, you're welcome. But all I could feel inside of me was like anger.
Now you're making me feel like a horrible person.
Yes. I just was like, how dare you? You know, I don't support this emotion. Yeah. I don't endorse it, but it filled I can feel it. Like physically it takes a manifestation over me. And so I went and I journaled it. I like stopped him mid-sentence. I was like, I need to go write something down. And then the next week came up and I brought it up with my therapist and we did this IFS like therapy with it. And what came up was the thing I feel in those moments when it might be highlighted that I am less than or like have messed up in a certain way is righteousness, because I need to feel this need to be right. Like I have been in so many situations, whether it's my upbringing or relationships, where I was told I was wrong or I wasn't allowed to like feel my emotions that I was experiencing, or you know, I would be vulnerable and people would leave. These are the moments where I'm like, I get to be right this time. Like I get to be the one that lives on the pedestal. I want to be the one that comes to the relationship and is like, I know how we do this. I relay the ground rules and you follow those rules.
Dang, that's some powerful shit to like realize about yourself.
Oh my God. But what was funny is what you basically do in this therapy process is you have conversations with that feeling. If have you ever seen the movie Inside Out?
Oh, I love that movie.
I love that movie. Yes. So there's a second one coming out.
I know. I'm with anxiety.
Everyone needs to watch this movie. It's so good.
I swear it was made for adults.
It's for adults.
It's not for kids because kids are not going to understand it.
But also, like, I love that they made it into a kids movie to start it early. But every adult needs to watch this. It's
so good.
So good. We should take shrooms and watch it.
I know. I'm so down.
That would be so good. But anyways, what I do is I visualize like this emotion as one of those little like cartoons in my head. It was like at the leaderboard, and I talked to it. And at first she asked me to ask the righteousness feeling, like give it some compassion. Yeah. And immediately I was like, fuck that. Like I hate that I feel righteous. It goes against my values. Like I want to show up to always be this person that's very loving and like open to being wrong and like apologetic, you know, or humble, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And so I started with that, and we ended the session with me crying, like realizing that how broken that emotion is. And it's just this protective mechanism that I built at some point in my life. I have a feeling of where it came from, but really to protect myself from ever feeling like I'm not good enough or that I'm not smart enough, or that my emotions aren't like real enough. That you put up. It's a defense mechanism. Yes. Sure, and so I still struggle with this, Sarah, all the time. But this just happened in the last like month, I'd say, that we've been like really diving in.
You just brought the therapy.
Yeah,
I brought it. Therapy.
It's really the therapy.
That's okay. Well, that's deep.
Yeah. So I get it. I think it's this I call it like a God complex, where it's just, if you're in a relationship where someone is consistently like factually harming you, cheating on you, physically harming you, emotionally abusing you, whatever, you're automatically the better person. So then you get to ride this high horse of
like they're the one that fucked up.
I'm this great person, and everything else in turn. Yeah. That's what fucked me so bad, was because I'd find myself in these situations and it would affect everything in my life, because I would then go into everything else being like, I'm great. I'm not making a mistake in any of my friendships. I'm such a good person. How could I ever do that? When ultimately I look back, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have,
been better.
Yeah. So
Aww,
I get it,
that.
Sarah.
Therapy. Okay, let's go back to Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm recently separating for my spouse of 3 years. They came out as trans and our sexualities no longer align. With that being said, your girl had not had sex in a year and a half of those 3 years. I am wanting to hook up, but I hate the dating apps. Also, this is still new, as in a week. Well, a year now.
Sarah, are you doing okay? How's it going?
Do you even need advice? I feel like I get bored, so I want to download dating apps, but I don't want to really talk to somebody. I know I should take time to work through this, but I just feel like I'm attracted to a guy again. Yikes. I worry it's me falling into bad habits of needing to fill my time because it's hard to sit alone. I need advice or support, something. Thanks for being honest and candid on breakup therapy. I love hearing how much you've seen your pod grow. Oh, thanks.
Aww.
Love you, Virgo in New Mexico.
I love that do you have like when you submit things?
Yeah. I'm like, what's your sign?
That's the best ever.
And sometimes they give their big 3 and I'm like, yes.
Oh, I love that.
So, okay. What was I say? So she's leaving her relationship because they came out as trans and
she left her relationship last year.
She hasn't had sex in a while.
Yep.
So now she's wanting to so she's essentially going out and dating again. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And what she's referencing from like that, what we talked about in that podcast, is she worried that could happen again?
I think she was saying, I don't know. I think just based off this email, I think she's just saying that's how she got hooked on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
So now this is just like her advice.
Perfect.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
This is what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The dating apps suck.
They do. But I mean, it does well for people.
Oh, 100%.
And honestly, okay, they suck. Yes. But it's all about how you approach it.
That was going to be I was like word for word going to say, how are you planning to approach it?
Because I feel like for me, the time that I had the most fun was when I just honestly was just seeking attention. Yeah. I wasn't trying to find a relationship. No. I wasn't. I was
meet people.
Just wanted to meet people. I was like, you know what? Like this date could fucking suck or this date could be the fucking best. I don't know. But let me go and find out.
Yeah.
And I would honestly, like when I would start talking to somebody, like I wouldn't keep it as like a pen pal situation. I would be like, okay, feel the vibe, maybe even do a phone call or something, and then be like, okay, like, do you want to grab drinks tonight or something, or tomorrow, or whatever. And so I would meet them pretty much immediately and decide right away if I liked them. And I felt like that was so much fun. Like I had so many first dates. But I don't think there's anything wrong of just dating and exploring. I think as someone who's also codependent, like, don't, just because you are codependent doesn't mean you have to like deprive yourself of like dating.
No, not at all.
Or putting yourself out there.
I mean, again, I think the dating apps were always really hard for me it's exactly what you're saying. If I wanted something more than that, not saying that you can't find it, because I know plenty of people who have found their partners through dating apps, but I think you are going to find yourself more disappointed more often, which will take you off your course of like what you're looking for, and taking the pressure off of it and using it as like, I'd like to meet people. I'd like to get out. And really what happened for me, I went on dates, I want to say like 3 to 4 times a week. It was crazy.
It was so much fun.
So fun, but also sometimes dangerous. And other times,
be safe about it, though.
Yeah, be really safe. And other times it was just like, I started to write a book of like short stories, because the content I received was wild. You meet some of the craziest people in good ways and sometimes in bad ways. Yeah. And I think it's just a great way to be able to experience life.
Yeah.
Just try and take the pressure off of it in the terms of like what you're expecting. I think in order to have success, you have to go in without any expectations.
For sure.
Because
I think going back to what you're saying, when you meet people and like the content and stuff, like I remember just, doing it for content because it was fun on the show, but also like it was just fun because I would always meet people from like around the world.
Yeah.
Like I met people from like France, I met people from like different states, and like it you know, so it was really cool to like hear their stories and see and like, you know, like let them know how they were brought up and stuff like that. Like I just feel like it was giving me like a broader experience outside of mine, and that was really cool. So I just feel like I always try to approach dating like that and just be like, I want to figure out someone else's story for once.
Yeah.
You know?
I also think that anyone that you meet in your life, whether it be a good experience, a bad experience, like to get woo-woo with it a bit, am truly just everyone that comes into your life, whether it's for a second, 10 minutes, 10 years, is like there's a purpose for it. So trying to maybe analyze these people in that way rather than what am I going to get from them or like how far is this going to go, but more so like what can I learn from this person in the short time that I might know them
exactly
is a really good idea. I have a friend who has like been on dating apps for quite a while, has gone on lots of dates, and a lot of the people that she's either like dated or hooked up with have now become really good friends of hers. And I think that's like the coolest experience ever, that she's developed very, very close friendships with these guys. It didn't work out there. But
they just were friends. And they, like, felt like, So
anything can happen. I think you just have to really just work on shifting your mindset around, like, remove every expectation. And then if something lovely happens and you meet, I don't know, maybe Sarah's married again.
I know.
Maybe someone that you met on a dating app.
Yeah, maybe she went on the dating app, found her man, whatever.
Found her man, yeah. You have no idea, but that is where it will feel, you'll be happy that you did this as well, because that will feel really exciting. Yeah. And there'll be more like oomph around it too. And
I think like maybe you agree with me too, like being in a healthy relationship and, you know, like loving the lives that we have. But yeah, sometimes it is like, it doesn't have that kind of like, what is that word? Thrill, you know, like I always look back and I'm always like so grateful that I went on so many dates with people.
Yes.
And I'm just like, man, I got out of my system. I'm like this, I have, you know, this type of experience and this type of memory. And I just feel like it's something to just look back on. So I don't know, maybe look at it as like creating memories for yourself.
Memories, but to take it even a step further, or let's not take it a step further, but do it at the same time. Start making your checklist. Like the more people you meet, the more qualities you'll realize, oh, I loved that about him. I'm going to write that down as something that's like, I would love to have this in a future partner. Or you meet someone and you're like, I detest that kind of quality, or maybe he's late to a date and you realize like that put me in such a bad mood. So being with someone who might be, you know, have time management issues, like you'll learn so much about what you're looking for as well. So instead of focusing on the end result of what you'll get from them, really just noting.
I just had this random memory because I used to like think I like loved like super nerdy guys. Like I love a guy with a bit of nerd. I'm nerd now, but like I thought I loved like the nerds. Yeah, and so I like went out with this guy. God bless his heart, and like you know there was a vibe. So I was like, and he was cute, and so we you know kept the communication going. But I realized I didn't like hardcore nerds because. God. He would just like run around in a Spider-Man costume and it just gave me the ick. It just gave me the ick.
Wait, okay, how long did you date him for?
I mean, it was like we were talking for like maybe like a couple months or something like that.
But how much time did it take from initial meeting to Spider-Man?
I mean, I kind of saw it in his thing and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, he's an animator. So like I kind of like overlooked that because I was like, okay, he's an animator. Like this is just like he's just artistic, you know? And it's and then it's just like the more I kept seeing it like on his page and just like posting photos of just him in this Spider-Man costume like as if he's like a 5-year-old, but like he would just run it, you know, he would do the moves and the poses and stuff, and like I'm sure there's someone out there who like thinks it's great,
who loves it, turns them on, they're naked Spider-Man immediately.
I was just like immediate ick. I was like, maybe I don't like the super hardcore nerds.
Yeah,
like,
but
maybe,
see, you
like,
learned that.
And it's because I went on dating apps.
I do definitely think there's so many benefits you get from them. The only reason and why my first initial reaction was they suck is because my experience with them, and I wish I could go back in time and like learn this sooner, was just to remove any expectation of like anything happening and really just enjoy the experience of like meeting new people. And
I think it's a good way to approach dating that way. Like I know that most of us, like our end result is to like find love and find like the person, but I think like we should appreciate the journey of that. And I know that like easier said than done because like you get heartbroken, people disappoint you, all these things. But I feel like as someone who's now like in a healthy relationship and I'm with my person, I feel like those journeys, I wish I could go back and be like, take away the dating anxiety.
Yes.
You know, and just be like, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the disappointments. Enjoy the failures.
The mini heartbreaks.
The many first dates. Like, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know? And so, and not be like scared like the next guy is going to do it, you know? It's just kind of like every person's different. Dating's fun. And maybe we're just saying that now because we haven't done it in a while.
It's so boring.
Everyone listening that's dating is like, yeah, fuck you guys.
I truly think whether you're single or in a relationship, grass is always greener. Even when you're in the most healthy of relationships. It's the first relationship I've ever had where I wasn't like wondering what if. Like I truly have never had that thought cross my head. But it's what we were talking about where like I miss being young and like going out all the time and like I miss that, but the stability I have, the paychecks that I have, the savings account that I have, like all of this, where at that time when we were in that dungeon, I was like, I have $30 in my bank account right now and I have to get gas on the way home. Like, and I get paid tomorrow or whatever. You always like everything comes with a price. And so I think it balances each other out, which is
for sure. Like there's pros and cons to everything. Yeah. Because like I think when we're in those moments, like we strive to have that security and it's gonna come. We're working like we're young. Like we're fucking like when you're in your 20s, like you're basically a fucking teenager. Honestly, because I say the 30s are your new 20s.
Yeah. The 30s are the new 20s.
The 30s are new 20s.
The
20s
are
just like a fucking teenage. You're teenagers again. Yeah. But you're teenagers without like parental advisory. You know what I mean? Like you're not like having your parents do shit for you. I mean, for the most part. But like, you know.
I have heard this quite often, maybe from like memes and stuff, but they talk about exactly what you're saying. Yeah. But like your 30s are actually the best because you have more life lessons, have done like more peace, you have more money in most cases, and like you just have more stability to be able to like come back to something at the end of the night.
And you just like have more confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still working on my confidence. It's always a work in progress, but I'm so much further than where I was.
Oh, that's another thing I feel is a constant. Everyone always talks about the older you get, the more you give 2 fucks. And you're just like, I am who I am. And the amount of peace that would have brought me in my 20s if I had that like the kind of acceptance of who I am now, I would have been so much happier.
For sure.
And I really don't know if I would have ever gotten to that place without age, experience, and mistakes and learning.
And you need your 20s to like teach you those lessons.
Yeah. But that doesn't also mean that like where you and I are at now, for people who are in their 20s that are listening, it doesn't mean that this is way better than that by any means. It just
because I loved that time. I loved living in the dungeon. Are you kidding me?
Missed it. Yeah. I never had to get Botox. Right. It was great.
I wasn't worried about like, I mean, my worries are smaller.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, grass is always greener, but you can't get here without there. And so it's just like enjoy that journey because a lot of us would love to redo it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because it's like once you grow out of it, you're most likely not going to like have that time again. You know, like we just continue to grow older and go through different phases in our lives. Yeah. So, aw. We're like adults now. Hopefully this wasn't boring because we weren't like
No, we're never boring. I mean, I do like being this age, but sometimes fucking hate it. Everything feels hard.
Being an adult fucking sucks. That's the whole downfall of that.
It's the worst. Yeah. And especially with like Ian not being from here, we're in constant state of, especially with like the elections coming up, because he's not on a green card yet. He's just on a work visa. And there's just, it feels like there's stress around every corner that I'm like, this did not exist before. And this isn't just because I'm like married to an immigrant essentially, but like it just
adult shit. It's adult things.
Always. Like I would have never had to think about this before, or like we're now having to save up money to like
a house, like a future, just and to not live paycheck to paycheck.
No. I'm like, who and where is ever owning property in LA? Because it's not going to be me.
I mean, I'm going to shoot for the stars.
Do it.
And want to. Like, I'm going to say I'm going to be that person.
You absolutely should.
Like,
I can see that for you.
Like, I don't want to, like, I don't, no shame to, like, my family because they all have, like, property in Texas. But I don't want to, like, go to Texas and buy property.
Yeah.
I want to buy property where the taxes are.
Yeah.
Where it's harder, you know? Like, I don't know. I just feel like LA's for me.
Yeah.
And, like, not to sound like that bitch, but.
Listen, I don't think that makes you sound that way at all. What I am annoyed by you saying that is it because it sounds like you figured it out where you're like, this is where I belong. This is where I want to be. Because I'm in a little bit of a state of like, I don't know. I've been over LA for a while, but I have no idea what that next step is. And I can't really imagine.
I figured like you'd go to London.
Yeah, I think we want to have kids here first. Okay. But then I'm not letting them go to school here until guns go away. So...
Oh, yeah, 1,000%.
Not to make it really political, but I think what we'll do is have them young until they hit like first grade, whatever, and then we'd move over to the UK. But even then, this is where I'm like, I would love to have that kind of like assurance because I don't know what that looks like. When is that? Also, I mean,
I don't know when that looks like either because we still have some time. We're just in the early processes of saving money for that. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a while.
Yeah. But you at least know. Like, I think there's a part of me that's like, that's exciting to not know and like, who knows what will come. Yeah. But at the same time, I've always been very much like, I find being a Cancer, I'm sure Brian is this way too, home is so important.
Oh, yeah.
So important. And having this like, where's home going to be is like freaking me out.
Yeah.
But it'll be great no matter what.
I think because I'm like born and raised in LA.
Yes.
So it's like, it's been home for me, you know, and it's like, I don't know, like I could explore other places, but like even when I was in the Bay, I was just like, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want to go to LA. I just want to be home.
You will never catch me home.
In Missouri?
No.
Aw. You would never just raise a family there?
Absolutely not. If
little small town.
The politics changed maybe, but I have very, like moving from a place like Missouri to LA, I learned so much. Like even though I always felt a little bit of like the black sheep or like didn't align with a lot of the people. Yeah. And all like I didn't dress the same, you know, there was a lot that pinpointed to like, oh, we don't fit in here. But as soon as I moved to LA, so many more bright lights of like, that was so fucked up. That was super fucked up. And I came from a very white town as well. And I just want my kids to grow up with like culture and diversity and like understand all walks of life. Yeah. That's why I think I love London so much. It is super diverse. You have people from all over Europe who live there. So that's kind of like my main.
London.
Yeah. We'll see. Missouri is not the one. It's not for me. I mean,
cross that off the list.
No, if I lived there, I'd probably have 3 kids by now. And that was never my.
Yeah, no shade. Because sometimes I feel like I wish I was a small town girly. Mm-hmm. Like I wish I would just be okay with like.
It sounds easy and just like.
And just like you're not stressed about the things that we care about here in LA.
Right.
You know? And I'm just like, fuck. Like.
Yeah. There's absolutely no shade. I think it's just everyone is different. And what I was meant for wasn't like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But doesn't mean I don't appreciate a small town, for sure. I love a sense of community. And I think when I do have kids, it won't be in the middle of like a buzzing city.
It'd be like a little a mixture of both.
Yeah, that's what I've taken from it. Like there's elements for sure that I'm like, ooh, I like that. And I also loved growing up just running around outside until like the rule was like once it's dark, you come in for dinner kind of thing. Yeah. And that's what I would love to replicate, but just not there.
I feel the same way with Santa Clarita.
Yeah.
Too. It's like, I grew up there. It was a great place to grow up. I felt safe. But like, again, there's so much more to life. And I feel like especially because my kids will be Black.
Yep.
So it's like I need them to be in a better, like,
safe. They need to be safe
neighborhood, but also in a place where like they see other people like themselves and they don't feel like an outcast.
That's what I meant by safe is like they need to be someplace where they'll be cherished and protected and not. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at too.
So we agree.
Yeah, we agree. We're aligned.
Oh my God, it's been an hour and 20 minutes. It's been.
We could keep going.
I know because we haven't like seen each other in so long.
To be fair, I don't see anyone anymore.
I don't see anyone. Only when I record, but other than that, like
never.
I don't do anything.
No, I went to that jazz club over the weekend and I saw friends and it was so much fun.
Wow.
But other than that, I'm like,
I know. Like the only like friend I hang out like in real life, like outside of the pod, like more is like Nathan.
Yeah.
Like that's just like who I
love it. Does he live around here?
He lives in.
Oh, okay. That's what we're looking at.
Oh, really? It's a nice place.
Where the affordable property is. And now that we live in like a small little 1-bedroom house. It's small, but I'm like, I don't know if having the yard, I don't know how to undo that. Like once you have the experience, I'm like.
And you have a big dog who needs the yard,
But with what money? Where are we getting a house?
I know it.
Like
LA is so expensive because if we were anywhere else, we would have been fine.
Totally fine.
Like a house, no big deal. 5 bedrooms, it's fine.
It's terrifying.
But here it's like, oh my God.
We look all the time. And not to buy, truly just to rent. But even then it's like the highest rent and you're just throwing money away because we're not going to like own the house at the end of it.
Yeah, you're like, this could be a mortgage.
Yes.
Because the rent for a house feels like a mortgage already.
Right. I have heard rumblings that things are being like laws are being put into place to like there's the mansion tax now. Rent. Yeah, they're trying to get it to be more affordable, but
yeah, because this is like getting out of hand.
It's my sister who lives in St. Louis still. She just signed a lease to a house, or not a house, an apartment. I think it's a 1-bed, but it's got like 2 living rooms, massive, beautiful, right across the street from a big park down there.
Yeah.
Really, really cool area. Just guess how much it is a month.
I don't know. It's probably really cheap. What is it?
$800.
What?
$800 a month.
$800. Oh my God. That's just overall.
Oh yeah. Just like done.
House. Oh my God.
One-time fee, $800, you're in.
But damn.
$800 a month. For like her own place.
That's crazy.
And she was looking at other places that were like $1,100, $1,200. She's like, there's just way too much money. Here I am with a $3,600 rent.
Literally. Like my brother, we pay the same amount that we pay here that he does for his mortgage. And he has like a brand new house.
That's what my parents were like.
4 bedrooms. Like,
yes.
Like he's the first one to, like, it's like he designed it himself. Like,
where is he?
Texas.
Okay, where?
I know. By Dallas.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I'm like, damn, but we like pay the same amount. And I'm like,
it's wild. That's what my first
nice.
apartment here was the same as my parents' rent or my parents' mortgage, which is just like,
it's fucking crazy.
It's so dumb. But I don't know. I want to live somewhere I want to live.
I know. That's the thing is like we love the city and we I love LA.
Ian and I are both like city. As much as I can do a country aspect, we love being able to be close to like restaurants, bars, everything. LOL, don't even go to them anymore. But
you're like, I just order.
We want the option.
Right? Like no, it's nice to have that option.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
Anyways, any last words or plug yourself? I mean, you don't even like go on social media anymore.
Oh, I know. It's weird. I mean, you could look. I technically still have my Instagram because I don't know what my password is. So whenever I get logged out, I'm done forever. Yeah. So if you want to catch me while you can, but I'm not on there anyway. So
okay, yeah. Well, what is yours?
RCHBTH.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah.
So
links below.
I did post something in January to be like, I'm alive and my dog looks cute in this photo.
Oh, your dog's so cute.
She's so cute.
It was so funny. Rose actually brought it up because that's when I realized, like, yeah, you haven't been like online, because she's like, where's like Rachel's? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Like she felt like something was wrong.
Well, something was wrong. I mean, the
yeah,
reason I got
maybe
off.
she like felt it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think she knew what it was, but she's like, you know what? It was in January because it was like around my birthday when she was saying that.
Well, I got off in November or maybe like end of October. Okay. And I was like going through an emotional, like a personal transformation of sorts, but like I just wasn't well. And Ian is not on social media. He like never has, and he's so righteous about it. But he like recommended like maybe try. Yeah. And I did, and it was great. It took 2 weeks, I think. The muscle memory of my thumb every time I opened up my phone would just like
Instagram. Yeah.
Like I didn't need anything on Instagram. I opened my phone to text my mom back, and like here I am on Instagram. Like it was.
You're right. That happens to me all the time too. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, I wasn't here
for this. And now it's like 20 minutes later.
Yes.
So it took about 2 weeks, maybe less. But since then, the one thing I miss is checking in on friends. So like stories and stuff. I like seeing what my friends are doing. Every once in a while, if I'm like bored, I'll get on my laptop or phone or whatever and
just see how it was
scroll through, see how everyone's. I checked your page the other day. I was like,
yeah. Oh my God. You're like, yeah. I'm like,
well, that's how I saw that.
Oh, the shrooms.
No, that you had, what's his name on?
Oh, Jonathan. Yeah,
Couple to Thruple.
You need to listen. Have you listened to
I've listened to part of it, yeah.
So juicy. He like spilled the tea.
I know. Like, I was not expecting anything that he was saying.
I know. I wasn't like expecting him to like spill the tea, but he did. I was
also,
like,
want to talk about a toxic couple. Was that couple?
Oh, for sure.
I was like, you guys
need to watch
therapy
because you guys, that couple was like, talk about.
Was it Armand?
Armand and Ashmal.
Yeah. God bless him. Go to therapy immediately.
Yeah, it was like, Ramon that needed to go to therapy. Okay. Ashmal's the
yes. He was like trying to talk to him and be open with his communication.
And Ramon was just so like, it was like triggering because I felt like I'd been in like similar relationships before. And you're just like, oh my God. Like he was very triggering to watch. But also I should have him on the pod.
I know you should. I'm kind of scared of him. Oh my God, no, I'll come on with. I'll lessen I felt bad for him ultimately because you could see the trauma and pain that he experienced.
Like, I could tell like sometimes like you see his face and he's sitting there in silence and you're like, he's hurting.
There's so much pain going on
There's
inside.
so much pain. Yeah. And it's like, I feel bad for you, but I'm also mad at you.
Yeah. Are they still together?
No. Yeah. Because what happened was, sorry. Well, let's just go sign off. Follow me, Stephanie Megan, or go to brokotherapy.com. All that shit is there. Bye, guys. Love you. Bye. Growth therapy.